Hello, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Kurt, and welcome back to Farlands or Bust. Indeed, we are back in episode 338 of Farlands or Bust. There's Wolfie, and we are about to continue on towards the west, towards the Farlands, getting closer every single episode. I was about to say much closer, but in the grand scheme of things, no, not much closer at all. But we are from the last F3 number, which was a week ago. Yeah, a week ago today is when we started Season 5 of Farlands or Busts, and that's when we departed the 1479940 monument. We at least know that we are over 1,400,000 blocks from spawn, about 12% of the way, to the Farlands, so a measurable amount that we have walked in vanilla Minecraft beta 1.7.3, having never... Hi. You guys have a lot further reach than in newer versions of the game, don't you? Like, he caught my scent downwind from a distance. He's forgotten about us. But yeah, we're walking west, not Farlands, this is Minecraft, towards the Farlands in Minecraft. This is Minecraft beta 1.7.3. Haven't updated because updating would bring us to 1.8 beta, which was the adventure update, and that's when they changed terrain generation and whatnot, and inadvertently, I don't know that it was a specific thing on their docket, but inadvertently doing so removed the Farlands, so that is why I have not and will not update this game. This game will not be updated until we reach the Farlands. No, even then, we need to reach the Farlands. They exist, and we are setting out to prove it can be done without teleporting or without traveling via the Nether or anything like that. Fly mods, or do you need a bone? I almost said wolf. Do you need a wolf, Wolfie? There we go. So yeah, we're doing that, and we're raising money for Child's Play charity. Today is Friday, April 4th, 2014. Like I said, it's episode 338, and we are at, despite not having a specific goal for the charity fundraiser this season, we're at $333.33. Kevin Wolfie! Whoa! 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 Whoa, that's scary. That's very scary. He was glitching into this block right here. Might have something to do with how far off the block selection is, like the game spawned him in what it thought was that block. Ooh, instant grass. But it was too close to this block. This is concerning news. I don't think anything has changed. That happens sometimes. It was just a strange occurrence. There we go, you're full up on health now, and I picked up some additional planks of wood. I think I needed wood, did I not? That was what I said at the end of the last episode. So I will grab such things as these, and we will continue on, keeping an eye on that noodle guy. But what was I saying? Oh yeah, we're at $333.33. Thank you very much to those who donated and that person who got us to that specific amount. Having fun with the numbers. But yeah, we're still raising money for Child's Play charity right now. Thought I'd be adding some additional charities, and we will do that in time. I'm not that great at multitasking, and it's one of those things, instead of spending time redesigning the website or setting up different widgets and donation things, I find my time better spent recording videos and getting you guys content and entertainment to watch and making this slow but steady progress west towards the Farlands. So it's kind of a delicate balance that must be upheld here, but we'll get it. We'll get working on it. I don't think we're in any rush, obviously. 3 years down the road, still doing the same thing, but yeah. Cool stuff indeed. So yeah, that was something, people ask every episode, and people say I should just make some sort of separate explanatory video that tells people about Far Lands or Bust and why it's jittering and how long I've been going and why I don't update and what the Far Lands actually are and where they are at 12.5 million blocks away and blah, 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 blah. But, you know, I feel like people are going to miss that video then, too. So I think it's all right to briefly explain every so often. I know it gets repetitive for those of you who already know the gist, but yeah, the precision is off, so the world doesn't really know where I am in relation to the blocks underneath me, and apparently, as we found out, same with Wolfie, so we gotta be careful about that. I think as long as we keep walking, like if I had stopped there, I think the problem was I kind of stopped to turn around to see what Wolfie was doing, and he was stuck in the block, and if I had kept walking, he would have tried to keep walking, and it would have been fine. It was still fine, but it's little glitches like that we're experiencing, so it's obviously, once we get to the Far Lands, that's a quite obvious glitch in the terrain generation, but we're experiencing glitches along the way. That's kind of one of the reasons why I was so interested and attracted to the idea of walking to the Far Lands, is kind of bending the rules of space and time and space-time within a Minecraft world. Kind of, obviously it's a video game world, it's not real, but the natural properties of this universe are being torn asunder by me. Whoa, my keyboard went a little bit nuts there and started walking left instead of forward, unless I just lost home row. But yeah, kind of cool stuff indeed. And of course, we're ever since I started the Child's Play charity fundraiser, you've been bending space and time in my brain, just completely mind-boggling how generous and how much support we get for the charity. Obviously, if you were following from the first charity, I was like, let's try to raise $820 and reach that in 5 days. So I'm like, perhaps you guys are more generous and awesome than I previously realized. Let's go around this way. It's kind of a cliff edge over there. Well, but careful, Wolfie. I don't have that much, like, in the past episodes I've had like news and stuff to talk about YouTube and world events and things like that. I only got one thing. I saw somebody asked in Twitter for me to kind of talk about in Far Lands or Bust, but being I suppose the first week of Season 5 of Far Lands or Bust, perhaps I do have. I went by and copied and pasted a whole bunch of questions from the previous season from donors. When you donate to Child's Play charity, there is a little comment box that I receive your comment, and I ask people, if you want to ask questions, give me things to talk about, you can do that with your donation. And I'll carry that over somehow when we add other charities, but I have a bunch of questions, so it's kind of fan question Friday. No, I don't want to make that a thing. That's not something I'm going to be able to keep up. But the one thing I wanted to talk about is, obviously I talk about space and NASA and stuff a lot, and the news out of yesterday is that an internal memo went to folks at NASA saying and instructing to suspend all non-International Space Station communication and relations with the Russian space program. And this is, of course, in response to the goings-ons in Eastern Europe, in Ukraine specifically, obviously, and Crimea. Is that how you say it? Crimea? I'm not sure exactly how to pronounce, but Russia is being weird. I don't know if I have that. I don't see that many. Well, obviously, I don't ask to tell me where you're from, but I don't know if I have too many Russian fans of Far Lands or Bust, or my channel, or Mindcracker, or whatever. And I certainly don't want to get too much into a political conversation here. I don't know that much about it, and certainly the main response I get is, well, Russia invades a country, but the U.S. has invaded Afghanistan, Iraq, and blah, 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 blah. Yeah, kind of not the same thing, I don't think, but yeah, different criticisms can be had all around, but apparently, yeah, in terms of NASA, they received a memo not to communicate or continue relations, or have been suspended, I say. It's not like permanent, between NASA and the Russian Roscosmos, I believe is their space program name. But the sun is setting and the moon is rising, so I'll continue talking what little I know about the situation in the morning. And awakeness. Can I make this jump? It's a little bit dangerous. Let's see if we can. Ha! Oh, easy, easy. Geronimo! Wolfie, on the other hand. Oh, he did all right. Did all right. Well done, Wolfie. So, yeah, and from what I've read of other analysis and other articles, is that this is mostly a symbolic stance, I suppose. The government, United States government and State Department and the UN in general are taking similar financial or diplomatic steps to kind of let Russia know that what they're up to is no bueno, and this is kind of, I suppose, NASA's response, going along with the rest of the government, being as NASA is a government, what's the word I'm looking for? Institution, not association, a government thing. They're a government thing, and basically, I mean, there are NASA representatives and astronauts in Russia, in Moscow, to support the International Space Station. We just had a couple weeks ago a new crew launch on a Russian Soyuz spacecraft to the International Space Station with an American astronaut on board. And there are Russian members of the Roscosmos in the United States representing them at the NASA facilities in Texas and perhaps Kennedy Space Center. I'm not sure where, specifically. I'm sure it's mostly Johnson Space Center in Texas for the ISS things. So yeah, it's mostly, from what I'm seeing, it's mostly just symbolic. I mean, even the NASA administrator made comments and said he's still talking to the head, the administrator of the Russian Space Agency, and they both are saying, let's just, hope the politicians on both sides don't make mandated things against their cooperation and stuff like that. They're both working together. But yeah, in terms of the ISS, obviously, it's not like they've shut the hatches between the Russian side and the American or other international side of the International Space Station. There's still cooperation there in case of an emergency. The Soyuz spacecraft are the ones that the astronauts would use. That's why there's only 6 people on board, and 2 Soyuz, or they three each, could use as escape craft if needed. So yeah, I mean, I wouldn't, the media and certain news outlets might use that for viewership or, headlines. Oh, NASA's not talking to Russia anymore. But in general, I think it was kind of just a symbolic, we have to send out this memo because XYZ told us to, and the higher ups or whatever. So I wouldn't put too much weight on that in regards to, our astronauts are in danger, and now SpaceX has to really. You guys having a conversation or something? What's going on? Hello? There we go. And he was dry anyway. That's a shame. So yeah, I wouldn't worry too much about that. But regardless, I can get to some questions. Some of these are newer questions. A few people have asked questions with the donations for Season 5, but a lot of them I've gone through and paged through. I know I missed a lot of questions during... I'm going to sneeze. Woo, okay, maybe not. False alarm. A lot of questions through Flobathon on March 1st that I never got to because I didn't have a chance to check the donations widget too often, and it doesn't self-update or anything like that. So I have a lot of those that I have left over, so there's going to be a paprika of various questions from recent or months ago even that I missed. So I'm gonna just start going down the line here. Have you ever tried gluten-free beer? Yes, and I was not impressed. There is some gluten-free beer that is I haven't been able to try. It's a little bit more of the heavier stuff that I tended to like when I did drink beer. But the stuff I have found it's just kind of akin to light beer, and I never liked that anyway. So I'm not a fan. And people all over the land keep telling me to try cider. Apparently, cider is a good gluten-free analog to beer. But again, it's one of those things that having to go gluten-free. And yes, I mentioned this on the Mindcrack podcast, but I suppose I didn't give you an update. Update that indeed I did see a doctor, and he was not a Time Lord, but an actual doctor, and got blood tests and things done. And sure enough, the main gluten test didn't come back positive, but often that's simply because I haven't, they told me you would need to like gorge yourself on gluten in order to get a reaction for at least a week, and then it might show up positive. So there's always a lot of false negatives with that. But the wheat, there is a wheat allergy, and there was a reaction to the wheat allergy test. So I was right all along. No, well, at least it wasn't just a placebo effect. There was probably a definitive difference in going gluten-free that made a difference in my well-being. So that was a negative result, but a positive as far as my recent dietary choices. So yeah, that's it's no longer speculation. It's backed up by science. Science. So, yeah, that's why it's one of those things I've cut out, beer, that is, I kind of miss it, but it's I was having a conversation with someone about food and diets and whatever, and I haven't had a soda, a Coke, or a Pepsi, or anything of that nature in at least 4 years? 4 years, maybe? And that's something I used to have all the time, with my lunches. Or no, I meant to get a boat, not dirt. I'm going to ride the dirt across the ocean. Hold on, I want to actually test something. Yeah, okay, I knew something was different. And, sorry, tangent. On the Mindcrack server, in yesterday's episode, I was planning on, being as I play racing games a lot, me and Beef do Formula 1, I wanted to make a racetrack, but the best way to do that would be with boats, because all boats are the same speed, as opposed to, like, horses, and you have control over them, as opposed to, like, minecarts. So I was going to make a racetrack, but with water and boats, but then I discovered that the mechanics of boats have changed. It used to be where they changed it in, like, 1.5 or something like that, it would only turn... You would only have control of the boat by looking, which was the most horrible thing ever. No. So they brought back being able to steer with WASD, but I found it's only when you're under power, only when you're pressing W can you steer left or right. And I knew that was weird. Something was wrong with even that. That wasn't the way boats normally work. So I'm not under power. I'm just kind of coasting here, and I can turn. I can turn and spin whilst I'm not even holding my mouse. I can go backwards. It actually flips me around. And also that means I can look to the left, and I'm holding A, so I'm strafing in a boat. You can't do this in the current version of the boat. And you can, with this mechanic, you can make much slower turns and make those hairpins and have a little bit more control over the speed and the direction of your boat that would be necessary for a racetrack. So I knew something, even though they had restored technically the WASD, something was off with how I know boats work here in Far Lands or Bust and previous versions of the game. So Yeah, that's not right, even in and of itself, unfortunately. But anyway, back to what I was talking about, the gluten-free beer. I was talking about soda. I haven't had soda in a while. I was talking about things like actual pizza, like Illuminati's deep dish pizza, or Portillo's. I really loved hot dogs, and Portillo's Italian beef, which comes on a big, gluten-saturated Kaiser roll. And, I was saying, yeah, I miss those things having gone gluten-free, but honestly, I could go the rest of my life never having a Portillo's roast beef, Italian beef, or a soda, and I could say the same thing about beer, at least normal gluten-y beer. Is it's no big tragedy. I'm not sitting here twitching and going through withdrawals or anything like that. So, I feel like, I don't know, that could be applied to a lot of things. I never was a smoker or anything like that, or, I never had specific problems with food or other sorts of, I suppose, habits. So, I feel like once you're separated from something for long enough time, you could say, yeah, it's not, I'm not missing out on life by not having beer or gluten or Italian beefs or deep dish pizzas. There's alternatives I can live with, and there's just going like, I'm okay drinking water. And an iced tea or something like that is about as close to soda, sugary drink that I get. But let's go to sleep, and we'll continue answering questions in the morning. And soda-ness. Fizzy drink. Pop. Coke. Pepsi. Mountain Dew. Hold your Mountain Dew can right so that the cameras can pick it up there, advertisers. Woof. I have gotten emails. I have gotten emails from they don't say what company they represent, but PR companies saying, ooh, it's a gamer's energy drink. We will do this Y, Z to get you to promote and be a sponsor for a popular and up-and-coming energy drink aimed at gamers. And I'm like, no amount of money. Well, maybe there would be amount of money, but generally, there's no amount of money that's going to get me to start drinking energy drinks or anything like that. So screw you guys. Sent to spam. I'm listing left. I want to be going that way. It's north a little bit because I'm drifting a little bit here, but this same question goes on to ask, you've mentioned before in Irish heritage, would you ever like to visit Ireland? Yeah, I suppose as far as Europe is concerned, Ireland. Oh, that's lava, la 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 lava. Let's go back, we'll feel it back. Yep. No, back over here. All right, let's take a little bit of a detour. Ooh, that's a nice little feature. It's saying, go that way. Woof. Yeah, I suppose in Europe, Ireland is one of the places I would want to visit. I mean, I suppose the touristy thing. Oh, spawner! It's got a nice door available to us. And it sounds like a spider spawner. Indeed it is. Hi. Receive. Diamond sword of spawn pointiness in your face. Ah, boo! What a ripoff. This act... Does this seem kind of big to you? That's what he said. Like, it almost seems like... Wait a minute, what do we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Is that how big spawners are? 5 wide? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, maybe this was 2 spawners spawned within each other. And only one spawner spawned, but that also maybe caused for the what are those things called? The prizes. The crispy candy shell never spawned because of that as well. That's my theory, which will unfortunately go unproven and untested as we continue on to the Farlands. What was I saying? Oh, visiting Ireland? Oh yeah, kind of the touristy thing of anybody with Irish descent is to try to visit their castle, or the castle that bears their name or whatever, even though in the grand scheme of things, there is very little chance that your specific ancestors came from that castle in Ireland. But you know, and I think Ireland has some really cool, at least I've mentioned how I don't really like traveling for the culture-y city, which is why Europe in general isn't on my list. You know, I don't really need to see London or Paris or anything like that. Oh, you're dead. But I think Ireland has some really cool landscapes, kind of similar-ish to, especially the coastline, I think. Similar to, like, Iceland, those kind of northern islands and whatnot. So yeah, I suppose, whoa, that's a lot of bones I got. Maybe I should stop killing pigs. Preserve the pigs! So yeah, maybe, although it's not really high on my list of places to visit. So yeah, answer that question. Now I'm starting to be specific. What sort of job, in parentheses, plural, did you have while earning your bachelor's? That meaning my university, my college degree. I had a bunch of little kind of just side summer winter jobs where I mostly retail, which is the best you could do. I for a Christmas season I worked at a Circuit City before they went under, which was no, never again. And I feel for people. Is that another spawner? I think it is. I feel for people who work retail, and you know, I feel like being on the other side, there is certainly a population of people who don't treat their either, you know, food servers or retail employees with any respect whatsoever, and you can definitely tell it's probably because those people never worked in retail themselves. So they don't have, they show no respect, see? I don't know if there's going to be another, it was 2 down, yeah. Another, this water is sure a nuisance. Let's try to get rid of it here. Zombies? But yeah, but my continuing of that is that even though I do have respect and I feel for you, I never wish to return to retail ever again, which is why I really hope this YouTube thing lasts a while. that would be just swell. But yeah, I did that. I worked in a call center at one point, which is halfway decent. Except for the whole, oh, I don't need any of this bread. I'll take the iron, though. You know what, I have a stack of wheat. If I need bread, I'll build it. I'll build the bread. If you build it, I will eat. Where did Wolfie go? There he is. But through college at my specific university, I was the art director of the official school student newspaper. It was kind of a weird thing because I originally went in I was in art. I majored in art, and I wanted to do the comics. You know, they have the little political comics or the Sunday comics that are student drawn, and I first applied for that, but I mentioned how I knew graphic design and stuff like that, and they're like, well, we're actually looking for an art director, so I'm like, okay, I'll do that, which was interesting. It's an interesting, you know, people in graphic design and whatnot. It's, you know, mostly think about nowadays web design and mobile design and stuff like that, or more broadly, you know, magazine or logo design, graphics in that regard. Newspaper design, at least in terms of print newspaper, is a completely different school altogether as well. And it's certainly, if you are into graphic design and perhaps are looking for a career direction to look, maybe look into newspaper art direction and design, everything from the newspaper itself, the page layout and fonts you choose, to the specific infographic design, you know, making the charts and the kind of eye-catching graphics that explain a story is just a completely, you know, I got books written on the topic. There really isn't, however, that I've seen, there isn't, at least in graphic design school, there isn't any emphasis or any specific, I don't know that there is a graphic design school specifically where you could take coursework in media, newspaper design or something like that. So it was a learning experience for sure. And as I graduated, I did apply to and had interviews at some actual newspapers, and I failed those interviews miserably because I am a terrible interviewee. But yeah, it was an interesting experience, and you know, I was part of, at some point, I think I don't know if I was bold enough to usher it in, but there was at some point, I think, kind of led a reimagining, a redesign of the actual entire newspaper layout for the style sheets and whatnot to keep. Careful, Wolfie, there's a boat coming at your face. So yeah, that's the kind of job I had, and it was a school thing, so it was like minimum wage for whatever I would earn, but it added to my portfolio, I suppose you could say, and like I said, it at least, there was a little bit of an inkling of, maybe this is something I could do as a job, you know, if the graphic design, web design thing doesn't really work out when I graduate, but that didn't pan out entirely, which is, I suppose, good, because eventually I've been led to doing YouTube. So yeah, this is much better being able to, I'm holding A, I'm strafing. This is much nicer to be able to, like, you could see your surroundings, you could travel backwards and see where you're coming from. Traveling on a boat. Fix your boats! Not so yeah, let's find a place to build the hidey hole. Of course, boats in this version, I have a very tenuous relationship with boats. For those who remember Ultra Hardcore Season 6, was it? Woo! Season 6, when I was killed by a boat. And so it is kind of interesting that I decided to try to make a boat racing thing, but I don't know that it's going to work out at all. I need to find a place. But none of these places... Here's a place. This is the place. Wow, it's getting really dark. Have a seat, Wolfie. Thank you very much. Oh, that torch is not going to survive this journey. Woof, he knows. Alright, here we go. Hidey hole. I hear footsteps. Footsteps. Alright, let's... do that. All right, very nice. And do that. And we can make this a full-size hidey hole. And, whoop, there goes that pickaxe. Good thing I made another one. And, yeah, thank you very much for following along. And thank you very much for continuing to show your support after this, the first week of Season 5 of Far Lands or Bust. Lights out! Whoops. Oh, I didn't mean to do that at all. Working in the dark. There we go. So yeah, I really do appreciate the continued support. I was a little bit worried and or hesitant about starting up the season before I really had a solid grasp on what the charity thing and goals were going to be. But so far, so good. I do not, those worries are not preventing the further enjoyment and my further progress here in Far Lands or Bust, because you guys are stepping up, like I said already. 33333 donated to Child's Play charity this season. It's good stuff indeed. I do appreciate it, and I appreciate people subscribing and liking and commenting and giving me these questions in their donations and whatnot. And to many, many more weeks ahead of Season 5 of Far Lands or Bust. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Kurt. I will see you next time.